Alrighty, what's up everybody? It is I, your Tribal God of Extreme, Peter Joseph here, for video number 3. Video number 3, the final video of this late Wednesday night, October the 15th, 2025, or if you're watching from another time zone or on the replay, it is now October the 16th, 2025, right at the midpoint of October. So pretty soon it'll be the end of the month and Halloween, and right after that we turn the clock back an hour and on the road. We're about 6 weeks away as of this video. We're about 6 weeks away from Thanksgiving, the start of the holiday season, and pretty much three or 4 weeks after that is Christmas and the end of the year. So we're fast approaching the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen, but got a little ways away. We got about 2 months, a little over 2 months away to the end of 2025, the start of 2026. But we'll get there. But thank you for watching on this late Wednesday night or your early Thursday morning, October the 16th, 2025. Right here on the Peter Joseph YouTube wrestling channel, youtube.com/Peter Joseph. Make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down there in my pants, otherwise known as the description box below. Share the video all over the internet. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to tap and slap that bell, turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. Because if you do, you need to get slapped in the face because you are SOL and you know what that means. And if you don't know, you need to get slapped again. That's that. And also, don't forget to leave a comment on the video if you like, but if these stupid comments, bye to you. You get sent to the Shadow Realm, and you know what happens there. And if you're brand new here, if you've never seen my channel, if you're watching for the first time, you're thinking about subscribing, please do. And subscribe to my other channels as well. Give them your love and support. And don't forget to hit that bell. It's very important to hit the bell and the subscribe button so you don't miss anything and be pretty much SOL. And that's that. But when you do subscribe to my channels, as we say in the business, welcome to the party, pal. We hope you enjoy the ride. Sit back, relax, grab that cold one, and enjoy the show. You like it? Great. You don't, go fuck yourself. And that's that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is late, and want to do this video. I'm pre-recording, so by the time this video goes up, I'll be sleeping. So that's pretty much it. Alright guys, on this late Wednesday night on the Peter Joseph channel, thank you for watching once again. It is time for your late and out-of-date, or before we get to that, sorry. Check out my last 2 videos of the day. Of last week's AEW Collision review, and also my latest rant about true colors, showing your true colors to your friends, and you know how your friends stab you in the back, your longtime friends stab you in the back, your newfound friends stab you in the back, stuff like that. So check the video out. You might learn something about how you're a true friend, or not, but it is what it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your late and out-of-date NXT review for October the 14th, 2025, taped from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida. Alright, take this week because everybody was in Australia for Crown Full. So, this coming Tuesday we'll be back live at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida, with the Go Home show before next Saturday's Halloween Havoc. Coming your way October the 25th from, I believe, from somewhere. They're going to be somewhere in the United States of America. Should be a pretty damn good show. Alright, so we have a couple matches at Halloween Havoc that have been made. Next week we'll find out a little bit more, but we'll see what happens with all that. And as always, our commentary team, man with a creepy jacket, he's ready for Halloween. He's got lots of candy for those kiddies out there, because you know how he is. And that's the creepy man himself, Vic Joseph, and the man that sits next to him, who smokes more fucking weed than you do combined. You freaking drug-using alcoholic bitch. And that's the man, the two-time Hall of Famer, the Kool-Aid man himself, the simp himself, Booker T, sucker! Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Alright, we got that. Alright, so Tuesday night on NXT was pretty good. It wasn't great. As we're rolling into Halloween Havoc next Saturday night. Alright, so as Trick Willie would say, let's talk about it. Now, most of this show does have some Bound for Glory aftermath, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Alright, so we open up with a long recap of the week before, NXT TNA Showdown, which was a pretty damn good event. The NXT women's team won their Survivor Series match, but the men, well, thanks to Trick Willie walking out on his team with Ricky Starks and company, Team TNA with Mike Santana leading the group, they pretty much won the men's Survivor Series match. So pretty much ended in a tie. So it was a great show. So we got a little recap of that. Alright, then we start the show off properly with the NXT World Heavyweight Champion to beat the big man Oba from Wakanda, Femi, who? And that's absolute Ricky Starks. Comes out, gets things going, wants to talk to Trick Willie about how he quit last week, and says that that's because Trick Willie Shimon is soft, and basically he says, I'm going to call my shot. Trick Willie, get your ass out here right now, because I'm challenging you for a match for the NXT title at Halloween Havoc. I hope that's a spin the wheel, make the deal match, but we'll see what happens next week. We got a contract signing for that. But before we get to the contract signing, Trick Willie pops up on the screen. He was not wearing white, sadly. And says, well, we're not going to do it now. Not now. Everything I'm saying now is happening right now. What happened to then? You missed it. So he's like, we're not going to handle it now. We're going to handle it on Trick Willie's time. So Ricky's like, I want to fight you right now. Well, I want to fight, so I'm going to challenge you at Halloween Havoc for, I assume, actually, Trick Willie doesn't have the belt anymore, as we know Mike Santana has it. So, Trick Willie versus Ricky Saints for the NXT World title. Will it be a regular match, spin the wheel, make the deal? I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Let me move on. Alright, so I gave this first segment 3 out of 5 stars. Then we go to the back with two high-flying guys that got ripped off at Bound for Glory, and that's the X Division champion of TNA, Leon Slater. He talks really weird, something like that. And your boy is Bouncy Javon Evans. They got royally screwed by Dark State. They went to a time limit draw, but then Santino Maleta comes out, you son of a gun, and says 5 more minutes. They go at it for a couple minutes, and then the lights go out, and then Dark State comes out, and they get in the ring and beat the fuck out of Javon and Leon. The match was ended in a no contest. So we will have that. Basically, they want some revenge on them, and then the new NXT Tag Team Champions, and still your reigning defending TNA Tag Team Champions. They beat the Dudleys at Bound for Glory. That's Broken Matt Hardy. Yes! Wonderful! Deet! And his his good brother, Jeff Hardy, dude. Alright, so they come in, and they think that Darkseid's attack was a shot at them, and they're ready to lay in some receipts in a rematch with Darkseid for the NXT Tag Team titles at Halloween Havoc. There might be a title change there because the Hardy Boys TNA contracts are coming up at the end of the year. So we might see Darkseid get it back, which I hope not, but, because Darkseid sucks. So we got that at Halloween Havoc. So they leave, and then Leon and Javon say, "We have their backs anytime." Right, you do! Because later in the night, we have some commotion, and then we see the Hardy Boys laid out by Darkseid. Where were you when that happened? You hypocrites? Alright, so I gave that whole segment 3 out of 5 stars as well. Then we get to a video from earlier in the day where we have from NXT Anonymous, who's floating around somewhere, Big Mama Pump, Jordan Grace, and the new TNA Knockouts champion, Kaylani Jordan. They're arguing in the back, just about that Kaylani's a traitor. She's not, you were with us and now you're against us, and now we don't like you anymore. And basically, Jordan Grace says, "I'll see you in the parking lot. No, I'll see you in the Battle Royal to see who will face Jacy Jane for her NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc." So, we'll see what happens with those two ladies a little bit later. Alright, so I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. Alright, back inside the Capitol Wrestling Center we go for our actual first match of the night. And we start off with, woo woo woo, you blew it, Matt fucking Cardona. First time in a WWE ring in about 9 years. Because he's been in TNA, he's been in Ring of Honor, been in really GCW. With his hot wife, Chelsea Green. And now he's back in, he's in TNA. He went to AEW for like a cup of coffee with Cody. And pretty much went to the indie circuit, became the indie god. Beating, of all people, he beat Nick fucking Gage. And then proceeded to lose, like a little while afterwards. Back to Nick Gage, who then lost to Moxley, who then gave it back to Nick fucking Gage, and stuff like that. We all know that. Then he went to TNA, won the Digital Media Championship, and now he's actually a good guy again. Kind of weird, but okay. Had a little feud with Joe. Oh, well, I gotta say it. We say his name and he appears, I believe, in Joe Hendry. Fuck that guy. We move on. Alright, he takes on Josh Briggs, who he basically cost in a match about a week or two ago. Well, before Showdown. And then we saw the segment at Showdown where Matt Cardona is saying, "I'm sorry that I got involved in the Josh Briggs match, blah, blah, blah," with, I think, Javon Evans, or Miles Bourne. I think it was Miles Bourne. And, he tells Ava, "I'm sorry, what can I do? I just wanted to get on Showdown." So then Josh Briggs comes in and says, "I want Matt Cardona next week." And then Ava's like, "Alright, you got him." So that's how this match came about. Alright, it's an under 12-minute match. Cardona looked great. The fans, welcomed him back to NXT, even though he was never in NXT. Yeah, pretty much back and forth match. We get near the end. We go to commercial after a big running flippy dippity-doo drops the big man down by Matt fucking Cardona. We go to break, come back. Cardona gets in trouble because, as always, during the break, the heels come back during the break. Cardona gets in trouble. Briggs is a little bit pissed. And then Matt fucking Cardona sends him into the corner for a running boot to face, followed by a unprettier, he learned that from Christian for a near fall. A choke slam gives Briggs a near fall. He gets his chain, loads it up, he gets caught up by, "Oh, radio, I know everything you know," or something like that. Anyway, radio silence for another near fall. And then he hits another unprettier. He goes for another unprettier and a tornado DDT. Both are countered, and then Briggs boots him right in the face, knocks him out. Woo, 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 you blew the match. 1, 2, 3, Josh Briggs gets a big win by beating, a former Intercontinental Champion for like a day. And Matt freaking Cardona. And that's that. Yeah, it's great to see Cardona in NXT, but yeah. Josh Briggs just to win, and we'll see what happens with him as we move on. Alright, match gave 3 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we go to the back. We have a whole bunch of people talking, and we got Hank and Spank talking to Chase. Mr. Chase, Kale Dixon, and Uriah Connors. They talk with the Bird Lady, the lassie bitch from Ireland, Lila Fakiria. What a group of people they are. A bunch of crazy nut jobs. And they're talking amongst themselves, and then another crappy group, the Cuckling, come in. Sean Spears, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley, they come in, and Tatum's like, Lyra, get over here! So Lyra gets pulled over to the Cuckling side. Izzy Dame, well, otherwise known as Boogie Hogan 2.0, brother, mocks the idea of the two teams getting a tag team title shot, but then Mr. K's like, this is a teachable moment, and I'm going to go to Ava and make this a triple threat #1 contenders match for those tag team titles that the Hardy Boys have. And then Izzy Dame's like, I'm going to win the Battle Royal. We'll see. We got that. Alright, so I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on. Alright, then we got a video for the lovely ladies of Fatal Influence, the NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, and her friend, former woman, don't call her Fallon, don't call her Dawn Henley, and get ready for this, the newest member of the group, and that is Lainey Reed taking over for my girl Jasmine Nix. I told you since the summertime that Lainey Reed will be taking over and joining with Lacey and Fallon, so give me my flowers. I should be writing the show. I'm going to clip that. Okay. So we get that. So I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. Alright, back to ring. Match number 2 on your scorecard and in your program. The Triple A Latin American Champion, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. takes on, Lexis King. This came about, I believe, last week. In the back. Non-title match because the title was not on the line. It's a pretty decent match for under 12 minutes. Back and forth they went. Dr. Wagner sends Lexis King to the floor where Lexis is nice enough to stand right in place for a moonsault. Just got out of the ring, just stood there. Look at that. So we go to break, come right back. Dr. Wagner is sent to the outside, which allows Lexis to send him knee first, into the apron. Aye, that's gonna hurt. And then even worse, a Dragon Screw leg whip sets him a leg lock, but Dr. Wagner Jr. is able to fight his way back, get the momentum back, but his knee is fine enough to kick Lexis in the corner, followed by a Shining Wizard. Then the Michinoku Driver, 1, 2, 3. Dr. Wagner Jr. gets the win over Lexis King in under 12 minutes. Match was, what it was, 2.5 out of 5 stars. And then after the match, they gave the mic to Dr. Wagner Jr. He's like, Ethan Page, ese, get out here, USA, pero pendejo! And on cue, the semi-Canadian champion, because he's semi-Canadian, Ethan Page, ego. He comes out and says how tiring it is to be North American champion. Well, you're semi-North American, but it is what it is. So we get a match made for Halloween Havoc, and he's like, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, we're going to fight. And then Dr. Wagner Jr. gets back on the mic. He says, we're going to have Dia de los Muertes match, which Ethan's like, what the fuck are you saying? I don't know what you just said. I think he said, what do you call him? What do you call him? I think he called him like essay. He's like, I don't know what that means, essay. And then Dr. One is like, it's like, me, you, essay, pero, and a Day of the Dead match where anything goes. Pretty much a staple in Mexico. I think we've seen it a lot on Lucha Underground. Even though it's differently named, but basically the same thing. Anything goes, no disqualification match for the NXT North American Championship. So the Triple A title is not on the line. So I think Ethan Page is gonna beat Dr. Wagner Jr. by some chicanery, even though it's not, he can do with anything he wants and still win the belt. He'll still retain the title. But we have that. And that's it. Alright. So I gave the whole match 2.5 and the aftermatch 2.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we go to the back. We have the lovely ladies of Del Ruca. We have the NXT Women's North American Champion and Speed Champion, the resident surfer girl, So Ruca and Delta, talking about makeup! Until Delta can't believe that Soul is in the Battle Royal later on. And she's like, how many more titles do you need? And then Delta was like, I was hoping you would give me your spot. Well, I guess not, because Delta is going to be taking on Blake Monroe. Well, Mariah May coming up. So, once again, Soul, using her hotness and her, her titles to get into another title match. And Delta's like, hey, what am I going to do here? Oh, we get that. 2.25 out of 5 stars for that. Alright, we go to Ava Rain's office where she's talking to Santino Malala, Du Salamagan. They're talking in the back with Bouncy Javon Evans and Leon Slater, trying to see what they can do with them. They could do a rematch at Halloween Havoc, or maybe at the next TNA show. So they want Javon and Leon want a tag team match at Halloween Havoc with, I assume, Dark State. But just then, on the other place, that's Santino's hot daughter. I wonder where they've been. Santino might be like, hey, what? Hey, you son of a gun, where you been? You're my daughter, where you been? Well, she's been with this guy who I haven't seen in a couple weeks. That's Stax Mahomes. Remember, he used to be the NXT Heritage Cup champion? Whatever happened to that? Spanish Archer out again. Anyway, so they come in, and somehow, Stax gets an X Division title match next week with Leon, I think it's next week with Leon Slater. I don't think it's on Halloween now. I think it's next week with Leon Slater. And then we hear a commotion. Somebody else is getting beat up in the back. And we see Trick Willie has destroyed and beat up the NXT champion Ricky Saints. Ava Rain goes over to him and says, "Hey, get out of here! You're out of here! You're banned from the building." And then I guess that's his time. We're going to talk about it on my time, and I'm going to beat you up in the back. Now it's my time. Okay. We got that. Is it crime time? No. Yo, Opa Fatty, it's crime time. Anyway, we get that. Alright. So I give that segment 2.5 out of 5 stars. Back inside the Capitol Wrestling we go with more ladies action. Blake Monroe and Delta. Blake Monroe just yummy. Alright, match lasted under 10 minutes. Kind of went back and forth. Delta using her power, Blake using her sexiness and her speed. Alright, so after Blake Monroe gets knocks Delta to the outside, we go to break, come right back. Delta fights out of a basic chin lock, but gets kneed right back down. The chin lock goes back on. So Delta then uses a 1921 jawbreaker to get away to freedom, to get away out of it. And then they shot to face, just wakes Delta up. She's pissed, but then Blake Monroe with a headbutt to kind of get the momentum. Then it's time. Then they go outside, time for a chair. But then Sol Ruka comes out. Well, actually, she was at ringside, takes it away from. I think she takes it away from Blake, and they switch, and then the referee's like, "Oh, he's got that." He takes the chair away, and then he's yelling at Sol Ruka, which says Blake Monroe go inside of her bra and pull out a hair pick, and then she jumped on Delta's back, and it started she's stabbed her right in the neck with it. Aye! And then hits a DDT. 1, 2, 3. Blake Monroe gets the win. Not the greatest win in the world, but we'll go with that. So we have that. So more issues with Sol Ruka, and Delta. When are they going to turn Delta already so she can go after the NXT North American Championship and beat Sol Ruka? Because I bet you nothing, because we got Deadline coming up. I bet you nothing Sol Ruka's gonna get into that Iron Survivor match, because she was in it last year. I think Delta was in it last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if both of them or one of them get in. And the winner of that faces the NXT Women's Champion at New Year's Evil, coming up in January. But we're not having even got to Deadline yet. We won't know the Iron Survivor members, I think, in the first or second week of November. Because that's when I believe the brackets or the qualifying matches for Deadline will be. We should have 5 participants, because I think it's usually 5. And we'll see what happens at the end of Deadline for the men and the women, who faces those champions. And in that, basically a King of the Mountain match, without the ladder, and the title you have to get. It's like a King of the Mountain match, but if you get pinned, you go to the penalty box for a minute and a half. And most pinfalls in the end of, I believe it's 25 minutes, is the Iron Survivor, and they get a title shot, like I said, at New Year's Evil. The next, coming up after that. Alright, so we'll see what happens with Jaruka, and that's it. Alright, match I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars. It was alright, nothing else. Alright, then we hear from Ava Raine. She announces, now we got the Women's Speed, number 1 Contender Speed tournament. Now, we're gonna get the men. Who the hell is the men's champion? I don't even know. Who cares? Why are we getting this? Why? You got nothing else to do? I mean, that's why WWE and in some ways NXT have been kind of boring lately, because there's no good storylines. The only good storyline WWE right now is now with Seth Rollins. Now he's hurt, and who knows when he's going to come back. Or if, they're saying he's not hurt, which is bullshit. Then again, who knows with Seth? Remember when he hurt his leg, and he was going to be out for a while, and he came back, I think at Mania, or SummerSlam, or one of those pay-per-views? I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah. So, Ava's going to make this tournament. I don't even know who the men's champion is, and I really don't care. This whole thing makes no fucking sense. There's no good storylines. Besides the whole New Vision thing, and that's one storyline. Then the other storyline is Asuka and Kairi going up against Mommy, Rhea Ripley, and Io. And, poor Kyrie's, in the middle getting slapped in the face every fucking week, I like to slap something else, but, you know how I love my Asians, I like to slap their ass. But, it is what it is. That's that. But we'll move on. So we'll see when this tournament starts and who's actually in it, and who will face whoever is the men's speed champion. Was it Andrade? Or did he lose that? I don't even watch... I never watched Speed in my life, except for that one match where Lyra beat EO. It pissed me off! That's the second time Lyra beat EO, I believe. Ugh. We move on. Alright, so we got that. Alright, then we go to that triple threat #1 contenders match for the NXT Tag Team titles. Hank and Spank taking on Chase U, taking on the Cuckling. Izzy Dame, I believe, Tatum Paxley at ringside, Mr. Chase at ringside. This match really went nowhere because Tank goes back in with a middle rope elbow to Shawn Spears. Then Chase U is right there with Serial Dippity-Doos to the floor. They go back in. Nico Vance takes over on Araya Connors. But then Hank and Spank send Nico to the outside. Everyone but Araya Connors collides in the ring. And then OTM, remember them? Lucius Price and Bronco Nima, they're back. They jumped them for no contest. So I assume now, are we doing this again where, you know, we're getting the NXT Tag Team titles in chaos and like every team's fighting everybody like a SmackDown Tag Team roster? It's insane. It's insane. So it looks like we might get a fatal 4-way for those tags to see who faces the Hardy Boys or possibly Dark State for the tag team titles. Won't happen at Halloween Havoc, but because we already got the Hardys and Dark State at Halloween Havoc, I assume the winner will face them either at Deadline or maybe before then. We'll have to see what happens with that. Basically, match ends in no contest in 3.5 minutes. Did I say 3.5 minutes? Pretty much. We get that. Alright, we move on to some other good shit. Yeah, so they basically, OTM comes in, they wreck everybody, the fans are like, yay! And for once, OTM's getting a face pop. So I guess they're turning face now with Miss Parker. I don't know. We get that. Alright, then we go to by the trainer's room. We see Del Ruca basically making peace. And then Soul was like, hey, Delta, I'm going to give you my spot in the Battle Royal. My spot, dog spot, neighbor spot, but my spot. Del's like, are you serious? Yeah, you deserve it. I'm sorry. I'm a bitch. You know. Alright, so Delta's in the Battle Royal. And so Ruger's just, you know, embarrassed. And we get that. Alright, after that, we see Absolute Ricky Starks pissed in the back, goes looking for Trick Willie, but Ava Raine says, well, he gone, he left the building already. So then, Ricky's like, alright, we're gonna do it on my time, and next week we're gonna sign the Halloween Havoc contract signing. I bet you nothing there's a caveat in there, there's gonna be spin the wheel, make the deal. Which will probably be, whatever matches on the wheel. Obviously. I think we're gonna definitely get one for Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace. I have a feeling. Because we have one for the men, we have one for the women. So, we'll see what matches come about. Could be tables, ladders, and scares, Devil's Playground, cage match, barbed wire, some ridiculous stuff on there. And that's it. Alright, then we get the Halloween Havoc rundown for a couple of matches that have already been announced. So we already know the Hardys and Dark State. We already know Chick Willie and Ricky Saints, or Ricky Starks. That's 2. We're going to get JC Jane and the winner of the Battle Royal. That's 3 for the women's title. What else? I think we only got we have 3 right now, I believe. I think we're going to get another 2 or 3 probably next week. We got the tag titles, we got the men's title, and we got the women's title, so that's 3. So I think we need the men's, oh yeah, we got Ethan Page and Dr. Wagner in a Day of the Dead match. So that's 4 matches. I think we need 1 or 2 more. So we'll see what happens next week on the Go Home Show, what might be added. And then we'll get the official card next week, so we can do our predictions pretty much probably that the Friday or Saturday before the pay-per-view. And that's that. Alright, so we get that. Alright, then we go to the back where we see the Hardy Boys get dismantled by All Dark State. Damn. And then Matt Hardy goes on Twitter and says some things like he's broken Matt Hardy. In my condition, I see a premonition of you getting deleted. Pretty much. And that's that. Alright, main event time, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 contenders match for the NXT Women's title and JC Jane at Halloween Havoc. So our participants are Jordan Grace, excuse me, Lash Legend, done. We have the Angel Warriors, I believe the name is, Xia Li and Xia Brookside, Alicia Fox, Victoria Crawford, Jada Parker, Ms. Parker, Kendall Gray, the new Evolve Women's Champion. She won at Succession tonight. And I think Jackson Drake retained his Evolve Men's title. I didn't watch it. I just read, read the results. Alright, so Kendall Gray's there. Tatum Paxley, my girl Maddie Winkowski, Carmen Petrovic, Delta, Mara Sade Jackson, Kehlani Jordan, the Iconics, with inspiration of Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. Ariana Grace, Kaylee Armstrong, the former Evolve Women's Champion, Izzy Dame, Heather by Alliance, the former tag team one half of the former tag team champions. Thea Hale, the crazy girl that needs a lot of coffee. Well, she needs to lay off the caffeine. She needs, uncaffeinated coffee. Decaf. Thea. Decaf. Thea Hale and Nona Faisese. Alright, so this was a pretty interesting battle royal. But gonna get near the end, pretty much near the final 4. If I can get there. Alright, so we had a lot of eliminations before the break. We come back. Thea Hale, who eliminated Heather by Elegance during the break, gets eliminated, along with Kaylee Armstrong. And then Blake Monroe comes out, jumps Sol Ruka, at ringside, who's not even an entrant. I guess that's going to lead to something with Blake and maybe Delta, or Blake and Sol, maybe for the NXT North American title. I think Blake would probably, hopefully win that, but we'll see. So Zarya eliminates herself, because she has to, go over the top rope to eliminate herself, to help her best friend and partner. And then Lola Vice is tossed out, in a little bit of a surprise. I thought she was going to stay till the end, but I guess not. Kendall Gray gets rid of Billy Kay. Kehlani Jordan tries a sunset flip bomb to the floor, get rid of Jordan Grace, but she fell to the floor, and then she started walking on her hands like she's, Bray Wyatt or, Kofi Kingston, so it kind of did a little Kofi-esque spot there, which I thought was nice. She basically gets her feet on the apron, and Jordan Grace is right there and just like, get out of my fucking face, and then eliminates Kehlani Jordan. So we're down to Kendall Gray, Izzy Dame, Jordan Grace, and Tatum Paxley. Jordan and Kendall Gray skin the cat to avoid elimination. Jordan plants everyone, but doesn't bother to get any eliminations, which leaves Kendall Gray to grab a diving tornado DDT on Izzy Dame. Tatum Paxley is sent to the apron again. Izzy gets rid of Kendall Gray. Then we're down to the final three: Jordan Grace, Jordan Grace, Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley. So Paxley's on the apron with Jordan for a running clothesline by Izzy Dame, but she falls over the top rope, not eliminating herself and Jordan Grace, and somehow, some way, ladies and gentlemen, the shock of the century, well, not the shock of the century, shock of the year, Tatum Paxley is the new #1 contender, and she will face JC Jane for that NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc. I did not have that on my scorecard. I'm happy for Tatum. Is she gonna win? Probably not. So then after that, Fatal Influence comes out for a little bit of a stare down, and then Lyra Valkyria just bypasses them on the way to the ring to celebrate with her bestie, Tatum Paxley. And that pretty much ends the show. And that's that. Simple to the point. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for NXT. And I gave NXT, I'll be generous, 6.5 out of 10 stars. Let me know what you guys thought of the show down below in the comment section. And, like Trick Willie would say, let's talk about it. And that's that. Alright, guys, I am out of here. I'm going to be going to bed because I got stuff to do tomorrow, like work, and I got some errands to run. I got a doctor. I'm finally going back to physical therapy after a couple weeks. You know, with insurance, it's just insane because you can't. They fuck around with you. It's like, oh, we're not going to give you your authorization for a while because, I had enough time to do another, get another couple weeks worth of therapy in, but they said no. Well, first my referral got denied by insurance, so I had to send it back in. Then they said, oh, your authorization's done at the end of the month. Oh, it was done at the end of September. So a couple weeks ago, I had to put the referral back in. And this morning, I got before work, I got a call from my physical therapist saying, hey, the insurance covered you, but only gave you a certain amount of, basically 2 weeks of, 2 weeks approved. So I'm like, all right. So I had to make my appointment for tomorrow. And yeah, I was gonna go Friday, but I want to keep my weekend open. So I'm just gonna go one day this week, and then next week I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2 times a week. Since I don't have to go to my therapist next week, I'm making that on a Monday, and then I'm going back on next Thursday. So I got that. And then right before Halloween, I'm gonna finish up my session with my neck, and then I gotta wait about another week and a half to go to my knee, and then in between then I have to get another referral for my shoulder. It's insane. It's insane that I have to do all this physical therapy, and I have to wait a while to get authorizations, and I have to go to my doctors to get referrals, and the referrals take about a week or so, usually about 7 to 10 business days to clear, which kind of sucks. But this one took pretty much more than 7 to 10 days. It took like a little over a month to get finally approved. But I'm getting it done, and that's that. So even I might be disabled, but I'm still be able to work here and there. But it is what it is, and that's that. Alright, guys, I am out of here. Thanks for watching. I will be back, maybe early tomorrow. I gotta work tomorrow, but I should, probably about 1 o'clock, I'll get to, Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about AEW and Collision, probably tomorrow night. We'll talk about Ring of Honor and TNA, even though we really shouldn't really talk about TNA because it's one of those, after the Glory things, like a recap show. So we're not going to really talk about TNA on Friday. We'll talk about Ring of Honor on Friday. Get you ready for SmackDown Friday night. We'll talk about SmackDown hopefully late Friday night. And then Saturday afternoon, we'll do our predictions for Wrestle Dream. And then probably Sunday afternoon, early Sunday afternoon, we'll talk about Wrestle Dream. And pretty much that's it, because the Niners play at night. I don't have anything else to do. And that's that. But if any news or interesting things come your way, I will be here on one of my channels to give you the news and all that other good stuff for that ass. And that's it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Get some sleep. Have a great night. And I'll see you guys a little bit later tomorrow. Until next time, my friends. If you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. Fuck you, Mario. That's it. Until next time. Peace.